Hi, and welcome back to Kingdom Wealth Creators. This is another session where we will talk about technical chart analysis, and we will see how I make my investments based purely on technicals and how anyone can do this provided they're willing to learn uh, technical chart analysis. It's not so hard. It's not rocket science. It's something that we have to put some hard work into, do our homework, research, and then we can succeed in making good value investments. So let's quickly take a look at what the Nifty is doing. Right. So the Nifty has been in an uptrend since the last week of Jan. In fact, on Friday, it actually attempted and almost did break the previous high. The previous high was 21,125. It went to 21,126 yesterday. And then from there was a huge sell off as people booked a lot of profit. But overall, the market strength is good. A lot of good results have come in. The global reserve banks have not, increased rates. They have not cut rates either, but they have decided to hold interest rates as of now, and that's actually a positive sign. They are looking to potentially reduce interest rates going forward. Inflation is under control, so a lot of positives on the global front, and especially on our local side in India. It's a good budget that came out, and a lot of good positive factors that are making the market look strong as of now. But we are at the top. We are close to the top. We touched the top. We fell back down yesterday as people book profits. So there is always the likelihood of a little bit of consolidation here. And so I am gradually, as normal, when market hits towards the highs, I will book profits in some of my weaker stocks. I will also look for other investment opportunities in stocks that have been beaten down. Always looking for a value buy using technical chart analysis. All right. So with that said, let me quickly look at the stocks that I'm accumulating as well as my portfolio right now. So if you look here, this is the current portfolio, and I'm just going to quickly show you the number of multi-baggers. Okay, so NBCC, some of these have already been here for a while, so not all of them, but NBCC is the one that's doing really well now. Almost 270% return on that, almost 1 lakh profit on a 41,000 investment. Of course, I had a lot more. I've been gradually reducing my. This is what I normally do. I would buy at a lower price and eventually start booking profits as just certain levels. And that's something that I do a lot. But let's look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 stocks that have hit over 200% so far. Uh, another 5 stocks that are above 125. And then you have another 5. So almost 15, 16 stocks that are multi-baggers already. But the list goes on. There's a lot of stocks that have, done really well for me over the last 7, 8 months. Yeah. So let's take a quick look at some of the stocks that I'm accumulating as well, and as to why. Okay. So it's important that we know what technical chart analysis is. Basically, we're looking at where it is breaking a resistance or it's holding a support and it's forming a pattern. Like I always say, a healthy market and healthy companies will show some sort of a pattern in its stock price. Not always a straight line, it goes in a pattern. And when it breaks out from a certain pattern, that's when we know, hey, it's potentially a good time to invest. And that's what we normally do. And we combine this with volume to see if there's a large volume interest, a lot of people buying it. That means there's a large spike in the previous volumes. That will show us that there's a lot more buyers coming in or a lot more sellers coming in. That will give us an idea of whether a stock is breaking out or breaking down, right? Um, yeah, the first stock that I want to talk about is Z. And now Z, we can see here that there's an upward trend now. Now Z, I have bought it before. You can see here way back in July or so, I entered at these levels around 190s. I booked a lot of profit around 270s. So I made quite a good change of money. So you see this technical trend line, when it broke down from this trend line, that's when I exited. Of course, it did go up after that, but then I was just waiting for a value buy again. And what you notice here now, if I were to extend this line out, you can see that it is again somewhere near support where it took support at around 150, 152. And since then, it's been so far holding this trend line. Okay. And so that's important. As long as it can hold this trend line, and I entered at about 160 something. So as long as it's holding this trend line, it looks like a good value investment as of now. Why did I enter this stock? Simply because at that level, at 160 rupees, it is a very good value investment. One of the strong, largest media companies in India. And for that alone, it is one of the market leaders. It's a good value at that price. So it fell to 150 and then it formed a higher low here. So the previous low was 150 something. Then the next low is around 158. Then the next low is about 160. So it's been gradually going up, and the low is getting is going up higher, and that's a good sign. Also, it's forming higher highs. You can see here that the high initially was 171, and then this high is about 176, and then it formed 179 yesterday before the sell-off came, right? So this is a positive sign. As long as it doesn't break this trend line, it is good to enter. Even now is quite good in terms of a value investment, because there is always going to be a turnaround. Some other news. There's been other news that's been floating around of whether uh, Adani was interested, NDTV was interested. So many things that are going around. But beyond all of that, the basic fact is technically it is a good investment because it's holding this trend line and it's making higher lows and higher highs, right? Okay, the next stock I want to talk about is data patterns. You can see here in September, it made a high of 2004, and from there it fell, quite a few times, and it's been trying to break out above this trend line. It did actually break out a couple of times yesterday, but then it kept falling. So it's important for us to look at this trend line. If it's not holding this trend line and breaks down further, probably exit some of my position. But I've been accumulating around these levels simply because there is a potential of a breakout. So I've entered at about 1,900-ish or so. Not a huge position, but at these levels, decent. It looks like a good. It is a fundamentally good stock. It's part of the defense sector, so there's a lot of good things going for it. So in that situation, and considering the stock has fallen from 2,500 levels to about 1,900, there's a bit of upside that I can see in the stock, and so that's why I've been entering, accumulating at these levels. If it continues to break above this now, then that's a good sign. Okay, so I've been holding this since a couple of days back. I started entering, and I'm looking to see where it goes from here. Again, here you can see there have been bit of higher lows. Okay, the previous low was about 1,800, and then the next low was 1,850. The next low has been about 1,900. So it's making a bit of higher lows, about 50 rupees increment every time. That's a good sign. Yeah, the next stock I want to talk about is Renuka. I've been a bit bullish on sugar, but I don't have a lot of sugar stocks. I have EID Parry, which is doing quite well, and I had entered Renuka before and booked some profit, and again I saw it was a good time to enter, especially when I saw this candle on 25th. Okay, it was at about, when it broke above that is when I entered. I entered at about 46 rupees, if I remember correctly. Um, and now it's already at 49.70. So it's already a bit of a jump, around 6% jump so far. But it's got a lot of trend, a long way to go. You can see that it'll be closer to the bottom than to the top. And so I thought it was a decent bet to take value wise in the sugar industry. A better one is, of course, the one that I'm holding already, but it's gone, EID Parry. You can see how here it formed the trend line, and I entered up at these levels about 500, and it's since then gone up to 662. So EID Parry has moved up quite a bit. Probably not the best value by now, but you can see how it went from 500 to 600. So I've already seen a healthy 27% return on that. So I think Renuka is the next one to potentially move up, and it is at a very good low value investment level, and which is why I want to pick it up. Okay. If it can break this trend line up at about 51 or so, then there's potential more upside that we're looking at, probably all the way to high levels. Okay, the last stock I want to talk to you about is AU Small Finance Bank. I think the result wise, it wasn't that bad, but again, there was a bit of a fall. I think it went down almost 10-20%. From 800, it's fallen down to 600. So that's about, a 25% down tick already. And so for me, I felt that this is the reason why I'm picking this up is because you can see it's been respecting this trend line all along. This is December 2020. This row 2021. This is 23. Sorry, April 23. And now we are in Jan 24, right? And you can see as long as it's respecting this trend line, it hit a low of 612 or so, and from there, it's holding steady. I would say a better, clearer breakout would be if it closes a daily candle above 647 levels. But I don't mind. I'm just making small accumulations here as a breakdown. If it closes a daily candle below this, I'll probably exit it. But as of now, a very good, decent stock fundamentally, and it's doing quite well. And eventually, it will rebound. And I'm looking at adding this because it's a good value investment. So those are the stocks that I've been accumulating. I just want you to know that I had about 160 plus stocks in my portfolio. I've trimmed it down to about 145 now, and that's just intentional. At higher levels, I've been profit out some of my stocks. Some of them have run up amazingly. They're no longer showing in my multi-baggers because I've exited them out. ESC, MCX, quite a few that have done really well for me that I've eventually closed up. And that's part of how you churn the portfolio. And I've started adding more value investments at higher levels. It's good to be more cautious, and that's the thing that we have to do because the market is already at a high. But at the same time, while we book profits in stocks that are breaking down, we can always look to churn it and add good value investments in places. I've been doing that in large cap as well, HDFC Bank, Escorts, like that. Yeah, so if you are interested in learning, technical chart analysis, please do get in touch with me. I would love to help you. If you're new, you've been watching this for the first time, please remember to subscribe to this channel and hit that ring bell icon so that you get a notification when a new video goes up. Thank you for listening in, and I hope this was helpful to you. Please remember that we would love to help you in your investment journey as well. Thank you.